Immanuel Kant's philosophy on the existence of God revolves around moral necessity rather than theoretical proof. Kant asserts that human reason is limited in proving God's existence through speculative metaphysics. Instead, he framed belief in God within practical reason, arguing that moral life itself necessitates God's existence. This approach allows Kant to maintain philosophical integrity while avoiding both atheism and theological dogmatism. Kant's moral theology suggests that the world is structured to align with human moral advancement, making the concept of God essential to his philosophy. However, he firmly rejects the notion that belief in God serves as a motivation for morality. Instead, he contends that moral obligation stems from reason alone. Yet, he acknowledged that human beings naturally seek happiness and posits that the highest good, a perfect union of virtue and happiness, requires the existence of God and the immortality of the soul. While Kant dismisses traditional metaphysical arguments for God, he introduces a moral proof, where belief in God is justified as a necessary postulate of moral agency. This does not constitute theoretical knowledge, but remains a rational asset within moral faith. We further explore this in the Critique of the Power of Judgment, where he discusses the interplay between moral and physical teleology, suggesting that the order of the world supports the rationality of belief in divine governance. Ultimately, Kant does not deny the possibility of God's existence, but maintains that belief in God is an inherent aspect of moral reasoning rather than a conclusion of speculative philosophy. His approach redefines religious belief as an essential component of ethical life rather than an empirical or metaphysical certainty. Kant distinguishes between physical and moral teleology in their relation to theology. Physical teleology considers nature purposiveness and may lead one to posit a supersensible intelligence as its cause. However, it remains insufficient for establishing theology in the strongest sense, as it does not necessitate advancing the notion of an intelligent world, caused that of God. In contrast, moral teleology, rooted in human rational freedom, relates to the ultimate moral end and compels reason to seek a highest principle independent of natural contingencies. Even in a world devoid of physical order, reason will still generate theological concepts from moral considerations alone. Kant integrates these two forms of teleology by asserting that nature must have a final end, humanity. However, for humanity to be the ultimate end, it must transcend mere nature and orient itself toward the highest moral good. This synthesis unites the natural and moral orders into a single purposive framework. Kant argues that without rational beings, the world would lack value. He distinguishes two aspects of moral teleology: subordinating conditional ends, such as happiness, to the moral law and aligning the world with the ultimate moral end. Since happiness depends on nature, while virtue is dictated by moral law, their alignment cannot be accidental. It presupposes an intelligent ultimate principle. Kant's theological argument does not begin with the assumption of God's existence, but with the moral imperative to pursue the highest good. He contests that natural causality cannot ensure the harmony of virtue and happiness, and since morality obligates us to seek the highest good, we must posit a moral cause, God, to render its achievement possible. This necessity is not a theoretical proof of God's existence, but a practical postulate required for moral coherence. Kant acknowledges that one may reject belief in God while still adhering to moral law. As seen in the case of Spinoza's atheism. However, he argues that such a position ultimately undermines moral commitment by rendering the highest good unachievable. Without God as a moral postulate, reason faces an internal contradiction. It demands the pursuit of an end while denying its possibility. Thus, belief in God, though not logically demonstrable, is indispensable for maintaining moral integrity. This belief is not a theoretical assertion, but a necessity of practical reason ensuring the coherence of moral action and purpose. Faith, in the Kantian sense, is not a matter of empirical certainty, but of moral necessity. Kant does not seek to prove God's existence in a theoretical way, for he acknowledged that speculative reason cannot establish such truth. Instead, he presents a moral argument asserting that belief in God is essential for maintaining the coherence of moral reasoning. This belief is not imposed by logic, but arises from the demands of practical reason, which requires the highest good to be attainable. Without this belief, reason would find itself in contradiction, compelled to pursue an ultimate moral end, yet lacking assurance of its possibility. Faith, then, is not mere acceptance of an unproven claim, but a trust in the integrity of reason itself. It is the rational commitment to an idea that, while not grounded in objective proof, is necessary for moral life. Kant distinguishes between theoretical and practical reason. The former is limited to empirical knowledge, while the latter governs moral agency. The practical function of reason leads us to postulate the existence of God, not as an object of knowledge, but as a necessary condition for moral obligation to retain its full meaning. In this sense, faith is not blind. It is an assent based on moral condition. It is the trust that reason, in prescribing the pursuit of the highest good, does not lead us into contradiction, but guarantees the possibility of its realization. Kant emphasizes that this faith is not imposed from without but arises within. As the moral subject affirms, the coherence of moral law and its ultimate fulfillment. Thus, belief in God, while not provable by theoretical reason, is justified by the moral necessity of a rational and ethical life.